Hey everyone, welcome back to the Incredible India podcast series. I'm Taylor, and joining me, as always, is the expert mind connecting all the dots, Sam.
It's great to be here, Taylor. Today we're going somewhere. Well, somewhere really special. A story that truly defines a modern identity.
Absolutely. You know, some stories don't just sit in a history book. They feel like they're part of the landscape itself. And today we're doing a deep dive into the story of Lachit Borphukan, the legendary Ahom general whose courage in the 17th century really shaped what we know as Assam.
That's right. And if you go to Assam today, you're basically walking through his legacy. Our mission for you, the listener, isn't just to talk about the Battle of Sarahat in 1671. It's to understand how that one defense became this enduring blueprint for the whole region.
A blueprint? How so?
It connects everything. His duty as a general, the culture, the spirituality, and even modern conservation efforts. It's all tied together.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Lachit Borphukan. He's the guy famous for the victory against the massive Mughal forces. But the sources, these home chronicles, the Burunjis, they suggest his leadership wasn't just born on the battlefield.
That's the crucial starting point. Before he was the Borphukan, the great general, he served in all these other roles, including one called the Solal Gohain.
Solal Gohain, what does that mean?
It basically put him in charge of the royal stables and palace security.
The royal stables. I have to say, that doesn't immediately scream military genius to me. What does a role like that tell us about the philosophy of leadership?
Well, what's really insightful here, and it's all in the Burunjis, is the Ahom culture of meritocracy. They cared about competence, not, what family you were born into.
Okay.
The philosophy was pretty simple. If you can't master the details, logistics, timing, managing resources, how can you possibly command men in a war? His time as Solal Gohain, it forced him to get all those mundane operational details right. And that skill translated directly to the battlefield. It was like a very tough apprenticeship and responsibility.
So he was trained to see the whole system, not just the soldiers. And this kind of iron character is captured in that one iconic story, right? The one where he punished his own uncle.
Yes. For delaying critical fortification work. That story is the absolute bedrock of his legend.
But his own uncle, wasn't that politically risky? What does it tell you about the culture of duty there?
It tells you everything. For Lachit and for the whole Ahom ethos, the defense of the land, of their civilization, it came before anything else. Family, personal ties, none of it mattered more.
So a delay wasn't just incompetence, it was...
It was treason. Treason against the entire community. And whether the beheading happened exactly like the story says or not, the fact that the story survives tells you the core principle. Duty to the state is absolute. That was the standard he held for himself and for everyone else.
Okay, so with that foundation of fierce, uncompromising duty, let's get to the conflict itself. The huge Mughal army is advancing. Lachit doesn't meet them head-on in an open field.
No, he would have been crushed. He relied on knowledge. He conducted what the sources call an extraordinary study of the Brahmaputra River.
He studied a river.
He essentially turned it into a weapon. He spent ages mapping every single curve, understanding the sandbars that are always shifting, noting every quiet backwater and narrow channel.
So the Brahmaputra wasn't just the stage for the battle.
It was the strategy. He weaponized the river.
How do you even do that against a superior land army?
It's a kind of early theater-specific military science. You use the geography to beat technology and numbers. The Mughals were a land army. They used these big, heavy, slow barges for their troops. The Ahoms, on the other hand, had these small, fast, super maneuverable boats called dongs.
Ah, so it was a mismatch.
A total mismatch, and he exploited it with geography. He chose a spot called Saraigat, which means narrow gorge. That was the choke point. It just completely nullified the Mughal advantage. Their big boats couldn't turn, they couldn't maneuver in the currents.
So their numbers became irrelevant.
Exactly. And Lachit used feints, ambushes from tiny tributaries, even the morning fog to just confuse and break the Mughal formation before they could even get organized.
That is just incredible tactical thinking. Now, the climax of the story, the final stage. He's sick, right? A severe fever. But he insists on being carried into the fight.
He does. And this action, this is pure psychological warfare. His own men were faltering. Some even suggested a retreat.
And he refused.
His famous response was basically, if the Mughals take our land, they'll have to take me with it. I'll die right here on my boat. It was a public refusal to quote.
Why was that physical presence so important? The strategy was already working.
Because strategy only gets you so far. The will to fight comes from seeing your leader. When they saw their feverish general barely able to stand but still on the front lines, it transformed them. They stopped fighting for a king and started fighting like they were the land itself. It was the ultimate rallying cry.
And it worked. The Mughal advance just collapsed.
Completely. And Assam remained unconquered. This victory was massive. It wasn't just about territory. It ensured the survival of a whole civilization.
With its own script, its own science.
Exactly. Its own way of recording history in the Baranjis, its own system of governance. The Ahom kingdom was one of the very few in the whole subcontinent that successfully resisted Mughal expansion for centuries. And Sarahat was the moment that secured that future.
Okay, that's the history. Let's shift to the present. Lachit's echoes aren't just in old books. They're all over the modern Assamese landscape.
You feel it immediately when you visit. There are these physical anchors everywhere. In Jorhat, you have the Lachit Borphukan Mayong, his burial site. In Guwahati, you see the statues near the river, and of course the Saraka Bridge crosses the exact waters where that battle was fought.
And the Assam State Museum has the artifacts.
Right, the weapons, the metalwork, and most importantly, those fragile Ahom manuscripts he saved.
So we have the historical markers, but the defense was also spiritual. You've mentioned the journey often takes visitors beyond the riverbanks.
Absolutely. To really get the depth of what was defended, you have to go to places like the Kamakhya Temple up on Nilakol Hill. It's an ancient, incredibly powerful shrine rooted in the Shakti tradition and tantric practices.
And what's the experience like there? Is it just seeing the architecture?
Oh no, it's a profound sensory immersion. The whole complex is just buzzing with energy, the constant rituals, the sound of chants, the smell of incense. You feel this powerful connection to the divine feminine. And then you look down from the hill over the huge Brahmaputra, and you get this real sense of the time Lachit was defending. The view literally connects his past to the spiritual present.
And then there's Mayong village. It has this reputation for mystics and magic, right?
It's often called the land of black magic, but that's a bit of a colonial framing. Its real treasure is in preserving deep traditional knowledge.
What kind of knowledge?
Ancient healing practices, unique knowledge of medicinal plants, and this whole system of traditional Assamese charm manuscripts. It's a living library of the culture the Ahom kingdom fostered.
So Mayong's resistance is cultural, not military. It's preserving knowledge systems.
Exactly. The community's commitment to oral storytelling and healing arts is a kind of cultural defense, and it really parallels the military defense from centuries ago.
Which brings us to our final, crucial connection. We've talked about defending civilization and spirit. Now let's connect that same impulse to protecting nature.
This synthesis is vital. When we talk about protecting the land, we have to include its biodiversity. And if you go to a place like Pobitora Wildlife Sanctuary, you see that spirit in action.
Right, Pobitora is famous for rhinos.
It has one of the highest concentrations of the great one-horned rhinoceros in the world. And that species survival is a story of fierce protection itself.
It's a story of conservation.
It is. The rhino survived in Assam because of science-driven conservation combined with intense community protection. The fight against poaching, protecting the wetlands, it mirrors the discipline Lachit showed, mastering the details to achieve a huge objective.
And then there's the natural epic, Kaziranga National Park.
Kaziranga is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it really embodies the natural legacy Lachit's defense made possible. It's this incredible landscape of rhinos, elephants, hornbills, wetlands. It's one of the richest wildlife refuges on the planet.
So how does this amazing ecosystem connect back to a 17th century general?
Through the idea of stewardship. Lachit protected a kingdom that was known for its meticulous records. The Baranjis tracked land use and resources. That same commitment to informed management is happening today in the science used to protect Kaziranga.
And the fight against poaching.
It's treated with the same uncompromising discipline. The fiercely protective spirit that safeguards the rhinos is the direct descendant of the spirit that safeguarded the civilization itself.
So if we put it all together, the battlefield, the mystic hill, the grasslands of Kaziranga, what's the key takeaway?
The takeaway is that Assam is a holistic experience. You can't understand the passion for protecting nature today without understanding the historical fierceness of Lachit centuries ago. His defense didn't just save a territory, it saved a whole context. That commitment to duty, putting the land before everything, is still the animating force.
That concept of absolute duty, applied to everything from governance to ecosystem protection, is the perfect final thought for you to carry away. Reflect on Lachit Borphukan protecting his civilization with such ferocity and how that same fierce protection is manifested today in defending Kaziranga's natural legacy. That is the enduring, unbroken spirit of Assam.
Thank you for diving deep with us.
If you decide to travel to Assam, we have a recommendation. Five Senses Tours organizes tours across India which are immersive cultural experiences. You can email contact@fivesenstours.com. Note 5 is written as a numeral in contact at fivesenstours.com or WhatsApp to +919-845-677-446. We'll see you next time.